Hello and welcome to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. The very first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers aired for the very first time 29 years ago today, and that means today is Power Rangers Day. Hooray! And here to celebrate that with me are the two hosts of the Power Trip podcast. These guys have been going through every season of the Power Rangers franchise, and they're currently up to Jungle Fury ? I think they just put out their Jungle Fury episode not too long ago. So if you haven't already, please go check out their podcast. It is fantastic. Yeah, they were originally going to do this stream on their own, but they decided to let me join the fun. So, all right, let's bring in the boys, shall we? All right, first up, we have Michael Hamilton. Michael, what time is it?
Oh, it's morphin time, of course.
Dang,
Kim,
right,
thank
dang.
you. I have been green with envy that I've not been on your show in a while, but today I'm definitely pretty in pink. So,
Indeed, you are, sir.
yes, thank you so much. But Kim, thank you for doing this. Yeah, we were going to do our own show. We were going to do our own stream, but we thought, why not increase the fun by having Kim and her wonderful listeners tune in to a couple of guys who just love, well, two people that love Power Rangers and one guy that just loathes the fact that he has to watch it with me, Nathan. But yes, you are
I think your math is off there a little bit. I was like 2, but wait, where'd the third guy come from?
I'm sorry, I got my math and my genders mixed up. I'm sorry, guys.
I can tell. And your microphone makes you sound like the Magnificent. I'm just saying.
You're going to destroy my viewers' hearings, can you not?
Man, I am adjusting this output level and input gain, and it's all the way down to like 13 and 21%, guys. Come on, cut me some slack.
Yeah, right. Well,
StreamYard hates you today. I'm just saying.
It always hates Michael. I mean, come on, guys.
It knows you've canceled him. That's how it is. But I don't know how well anyone can see it. Oh, because I got my name tag in the way, but I got a couple of friends here with me. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to lower the camera here.
Oh, there we go. Yay.
Yeah. Got Jason, obviously, because he's the OG. And then I have to have my girl here. So
obviously.
Kim, I made him promise not to talk about black leather on this show.
But the blue wigs are fair game.
All right, we could talk about the wigs. The leather is, another. Okay.
Yeah, but if I can't talk about black leather, he can't talk about corsets. I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. All right, settle down, children. All right, let's get on with the show, shall we? Okay.
Yes, quite.
Yeah.
Yes, quite.
Yes, quite counter is already in effect, ladies and gentlemen. All right. This is going to be a long show. Okay. Let's see who we have in the chat tonight. We got our buddy Matt from Monstrosities. Hello. Thanks for joining us tonight.
The first and original BS artist.
We're friends with several at this point.
Yeah, we are. All right, we got
Hey, Carl! It's our boy Carl.
Hey, Carl.
The creator of the Power Rangers audio drama. He's in the house tonight.
And we also got Spyro.
Yep, that is Winja the Ninja.
Oh, Winja the Ninja. I love it. And Doomzilla.
Yeah, I actually met Winja the Ninja at G-Fest.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
yeah.
That is fun.
And Travis of the Kaiju Weekly podcast has arrived as well.
Travis!
Alexander!
Shoot! Okay, that's my only Hinshin quote, I guess. I don't know.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so we are here today to discuss what ifs, hence the title. So mainly we'll be discussing the question, what if the 2-part episode Doomsday was the series finale of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as originally intended? And knowing us, we'll probably go off on a bunch of other tangents. But we're we're gonna start with Doomsday. So before we get into it, which one of you gents would like to, give everyone a quick plot synopsis for anyone who might not have watched it in a while?
To the king of the epic plot synopses, Mr. Nathan Marchand here.
Oh, you're gonna lay it off on me. I would have prepared something if I knew this was coming.
I was gonna tell you to prepare something, but I figured this was more fun to do it on the fly.
Of course. This is why your name on the screen right now is a lie. Anyway. Anyway, but do I have to do the voice, or can I just make? Oh, I got to do the voice. Okay. I'm trying to do the voice and make it up as I go. That's gonna be a challenge. Okay.
Would you rather answer the 3 questions?
And I've already done that, sir. After 39 episodes of getting their butts kicked, the Moon Crew decides that they're going to make one last assault on Angel Grove with their own War Zord. Yes, Cyclopsis, that ancient terror that I guess Goldar once piloted, is brought back to wreak havoc on Angel Grove. Now the Rangers face their greatest challenge yet. Can they survive? That's all I got. I'm sorry.
Well done. That's better than I would have done.
Better than I expected you to do, sir.
But that's basically the gist. Yeah, there's we got they make their own. Oh, and Lokar shows up. We can't forget about Lokar, who's actually the great Satan in
the great Satan in the sky.
Yes. Satan in the sky. Okay. Yeah, that's Thank you, Nathan, for doing that. But yeah, we're here to talk about Doomsday and what felt like, because I watched Doomsday earlier today, and it does feel like a more proper finale to what we had going on.
And it was kind of serendipitous because there is an in-universe Power Ranger Day.
Yes, indeed.
That's another element I forgot to mention. The Angel Grove is throwing a big celebration for the Power Rangers and all the work that they've done for the city. Just ignore the fact that there's nothing left of the warehouse district. I'm just saying.
Let's put a Band-Aid on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I mean, by the end of this episode, there's a giant crater in the middle of the city anyway, but no one ever talks about that. So.
No one has to know. They just clean it up. They just, get the maintenance guys to take care of it, and then no one has to know. None's the wiser.
No one will know.
No one will know.
No one will know. Yeah.
I hate to do this, but apparently I'm still having technical difficulties. I will be right back.
Oh, snap.
Oh, dear. Michael seems to be having some technical difficulties. I guess it's just you and me.
It's just us. You know, I was thinking about this the other night. I think Michael and I are your 2 most frequent guests.
I was just thinking that too.
I think this is my 6th appearance. Maybe even it's 6th or 7th, I think.
Yeah, because
you've interviewed me twice. You've interviewed me twice. You had me on for Christmas. You had me on. Crap. Was I on your anniversary stream? I think it was on the anniversary stream. And I was on twice for G-Fest.
Yeah, so
the lead up and then the follow-up stream.
Yeah.
And then there's tonight, so that's at least 6.
That's 6 or 7.
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I like you. I mean,
yeah, apparently you do, and I guess I need to have you on my podcast a little more often to make it fair, right?
Yeah, excuse me. I need to grace your process. Your
why aren't you having the queen of the fabulous empire?
The fabulous empire.
That is one of the best things that came out of G-Fest. I just want to say, Watangi and the fabulous Empire of Monsters. It's an alternate title for Mothra versus Godzilla. Who would have known? Those Italians are so funny.
Oh dear God! So we are getting way off topic.
We are, but we're waiting for the inferior now co-host of the Power Trip to come back.
The inferior,
or at least he has the inferior microphone.
Indeed. All right. So you said this person Spyro.
Winja the Ninja.
I'm just going Winja the Ninja. There you go.
Yeah.
I actually haven't watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in a long time. I highly recommend you do so. I mean, it's good times. I mean, I don't know if aged well, but it's still fun to look back on.
That's an interesting question to ask. Has it aged well? And I know some people say it hasn't. I think it's aged a little bit better than people realize. Is it still very 90s and very corny? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. But there's a charm to it, which is more than I can say about a lot of entertainment, particularly kids entertainment from that time period, because not everything has survived since then. A lot of it has just been lost into the ether of the 90s and almost nobody remembers it. You might stumble across it on like Tubi or something, but something about Power Rangers has kept it around, that has kept it in the zeitgeist. And I think, even with all the campy trappings, that says something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And Travis says, no, it hasn't aged well.
Yeah, well.
I mean, it's definitely a product of its time, and the friggin' cheesiness is the delightful cheesiness, I'd have to say, which is why I love the show. But,
Right.
Yeah, but yeah. Let's see. I've been rewatching it for my Patreon.
On his Patreon, yep.
Oh yeah. Just watch Doomsday. It's a blast. Sometimes off for all the wrong reasons, but that's fun in and of itself.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of his, Carl's little kind of like recap episodes, his bonus recap episodes on Patreon. He's going through that and Zyuranger episode by episode, which has been really interesting.
Interesting.
It's my friend Bex.
Hello.
My friend Bex. I'm so glad she made it. She missed I did a Battle for the Grid stream earlier today, and she unfortunately missed that. But you got to watch a little bit of it, which was kind of fun. So for those who don't know, Battle for the Grid is a Power Rangers video game. It's a fighting game, and I have been a fighting game aficionado since I was a wee lad, playing Street Fighter 2 back in the day. So I decided to grab this game because I knew I was going to need it for doing live streams like this. And I played a little bit of the arcade mode, played online with the game for the first time in a while, and discovered that the people who play that game are sorry, but you're all a bunch of babies.
Oh, look, he's returned.
Yes, I have. Yeah. Yes, quite.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Really, we're only up to 3 right now. Come on, guys. We'll
get there. We'll get there.
Okay, come on. If we start artificially inflating this, I'm just saying we've got enough inflation in the world. We don't need to inflate the yes quite count.
Nathan,
needlessly.
Nathan, yes.
All right. Hold on.
No.
You
only said yes.
I totally agree.
Oh.
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to chime in and say yes, quite.
Oh, quite. There. Now it counts. I thought you were trolling us, Matt. No, it's only 4 because he only went yes, and then
anyway.
It took me 30 seconds to get the quite.
Back to the topic at hand. Okay.
Yes, mother.
Oh dear God, we need help. We need Jesus. All right, so Michael, now that you're back and not having technical issues, how about you give us your overall thoughts on the episode Doomsday?
I liked it. I mean, I'm gonna always say nice things about MMPR. I think I noticed somebody said this in the chat, but I never understood the hate for MMPR. Not really. I get it. It's about mid-tier. It's about a mid-tier Power Rangers show. But as I was watching Doomsday, I realized that it has a lot more charm and a lot more. I don't know what's the word. Je ne sais quoi. I don't know. Then.
He's trying to sound all highfalutin. By the way, if you're talking about someone saying in the chat that it hasn't aged well, that was our co-host in common.
He's wrong, but it's okay. We can move on. But no, I think it's aged fairly well considering its source material. I think the episode's aged fairly well. In fact, as I was going to say, I think that the original MMPR and Doomsday in particular has more charm than, say, I don't know, Samurai Which
we have opinions on Samurai.
Which we have opinions on Samurai.
Yeah, that is our. Just to let everybody know, we're watching Samurai right now in preparation for the podcast. Our next episode will be RPM. Our latest episode is Jungle Fury.
Yes. But the reason I like Doomsday is because it doesn't have that lull that a lot of Ranger episodes do. From pretty well start to finish. It keeps you engaged with the entire two-parter. And it does really feel like a dire situation, which I know early episodes of Power Rangers don't necessarily have that dire feeling. That comes much later with some of the other, with more modern
Green
seasons.
with Evil.
Yeah, well, Green with Evil was earlier than Doomsday, but I'm talking about later seasons where the stakes get a little bit higher and things feel a little bit dire. So, MMPR has always felt like just kind of sugary sweet candy. Like everything gets resolved pretty quickly.
Oh, it's our Scottish friend. He's in the chat.
And like Carl said, yeah, Doomsday has real stakes for 3/4. And then that last, what did he say?
I think he's the one who says, I just like the hate that MMPR gets, because without that, you don't get all the seasons you do enjoy. Indeed.
This is true. This is true. But I just like, honestly, Doomsday, I just like the high stakes. I like the high stakes for it. And it does feel like a proper finale for what we got. I get why we got the rest of the other 20 episodes, but I would have been happy if they would have stopped at Doomsday, and they could have dovetailed Doomsday into what we got with season 2. Nate and I were discussing. Go ahead.
Which is going to be a big part of our discussion tonight. Yeah, because we decided that, you know how you celebrate the beginning of Power Rangers by talking about the end.
Exactly. Carl says Doomsday has real stakes for 3/4, then the last act happened, just like most of MMPR episodes that tech the tech and suddenly all is fixed and Ron Wasserman plays us out. Yeah, that's basically what happened.
That's basically, yeah.
Oh, how did we put it? At G-Fest, Kim? Go, what was it?
Technobabble the MacGuffin.
Go Technobabble the MacGuffin. That's what it was.
I'm still waiting for you to use that on the film vault.
I need to find a place to use it. I'm still working on that.
All right, you get on that. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's like, I kind of feel like the stakes could have been a little higher. Like maybe if we saw like everyone in that other dimension and we saw like maybe they were about to like disappear into oblivion and there's no way to get them back. But it's just kind of like, oh no, they're gone. What do we do?
It could have been a case of just the restrictions of time, because you got to remember they're like, we have 22 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to use the 22 minutes.
Right. And here's the thing. As I was rewatching Doomsday, and the whole premise of the way you defeat Cyclopsis is by changing modes quickly. I noticed that they didn't change it any more quickly than they were changing it before. I was like, okay, okay, whatever. So that's one thing I did notice about the episode.
Yes, quite.
Yes, quite. But it's an elevated episode of MMPR for its importance of what could have been the finale for the series.
Right. So basically what we're playing with tonight is, what if this was the finale as intended? And I can already tell you right off the bat that if that was the case, there would have been several things that were different in the episode, because they revised the script for this once MMPR just exploded in popularity. And then Fox just called up Saban and said, hey, we want 20 more episodes. This is too much. This is too good of a thing to pass up. So they revised the script so they could just keep going and then we got what was affectionately called Ju 2, which is actually really fascinating. Saban got a hold of Toei and said, hey, we've run out of footage from from Ju Ranger. We need you to make new footage just for us.
Mm-hmm.
So they got hold of all of the people who worked on Ju Ranger, the actors, everything, and just told them, make new footage just for the Americans. You make new monsters that are not in Ju Ranger. They're only in Power Rangers.
That's not necessarily true. Some of the monsters that made it in those final 20 episodes was actually in Ju Ranger, but they were in much earlier episodes. One example being the name of it in MMPR escapes me, but it's Dora Chimera in Zyuranger. It's the lion, the sheep, and the scorpion creature.
Oh,
the one that
they said was a goat?
The one that the one that can control weather.
Oh, okay.
But there were several monsters that actually made it into Zyuranger that just weren't used early on in the episode. So they actually just they did
recycle some stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
They did recycle some stuff.
Yeah, but it's just so funny to know that. So now we have all of these stunt actors who played the Zyurangers technically playing completely different characters. And they had to do things differently because they're like, oh yeah, the Power Rangers can teleport. The Zyurangers don't teleport. So, so they had to do it. It's just so funny to think about that. But again, like I said, that was because it exploded in popularity. And you watched the actual finale for the season, and it's just a typical episode.
Yeah, it's left with a nice cliffhanger at the end. You have that moment where Zordon asks, "Do you still want to be a Ranger? You can leave. You can quit. The evil has been beaten back. It's not been defeated, but it has been beaten back." I still think that would have been a nice way to end the finale, because then at least that sets you up for season 2, for what we got with season 2, Lord Zed, etc. I think by having the Rangers say that no, we want to go back to our civilian lives and say, you know what, if you need us, Zordon, we're always here. We're always going to be Rangers.
But, like I said, the finale itself would have been different. I just want to rattle those off because the original script was put out on the internet, I think about 10 years ago or so.
It was a little over. It was probably about a decade ago.
Yeah. So first, there's several major differences that we would have had. One, Rita would have had a son who would have been infinitely better than Thrax, because we don't talk about Overdrive.
No, we didn't talk about Turbo.
And we don't talk about Overdrive. And which would have been in keeping with the Sentai, because Witch Bandora, Rita's Sentai counterpart, had a son in that. And he would have been named Bubba. And he would have been the one piloting Cyclopsis.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. They're not sure how that would have happened. It was like, how do we get this in there? But yeah.
They just shoehorned it in like the Doom.
Yeah, but apparently he would have been in the original Sentai. I guess he was dead or something. But Lokar's Sentai counterpart, Dai Satan, so large Satan, because Dai Kaiju, big, I guess. He revived him, so because Zyuranger is insane. And another thing that would have been different is we actually would have seen a flashback, and we would have found out that it was Zordon who stuffed Rita and the Moon Crew into that dumpster.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there would have been a flashback to. I'm looking at this article, seeing which. We also would have found out that that would have dovetailed into how they defeat Rita for good, which again would have used Zyuranger footage that they ended up not using. They would have used the Zyuranger footage where the Zyurangers beat Witch Bandora, and so Alpha and Zordon give the Rangers the golden urn, which in Zyuranger is what they use to trap Witch Bandora and her minions. Yeah, so which would have involved, you want to talk about nuts, this would have involved the Rangers actually invading her castle on the moon.
Ooh, that would have been cool to see.
Which is what happens in Zyuranger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that idea is just nutty, because as Michael and I have talked about on the Power Trip, a trope that ends up becoming very common in Power Rangers as the franchise goes on is the bad guys invade whatever is the command center. So this would have been a reversal of that.
Yeah, we get a little bit of a reversal of that in Jungle Fury. But for the most part, like every season, I think it was every season every season from Turbo on, the bad guys at some point raid the command center. Right. And well, no, it happens at the end of season 2. No, season 3.
Season 3. Oh, the end of Alien Rangers.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
The bomb with Goldar and Rito.
But the interesting thing is they would have put them into the CERN and then thrown it off into space, which we get a variation of that at the beginning of season 2 anyway. And that still would have implied that there could be more potentially. And then we would have gotten the scene that we do have at the end of the episode. It's clearly a holdover. I think you were talking about this, Michael, where Zordon gives them the option to go back to their normal lives or continue as Rangers, and they decide that they will because there might be other villains that they have to deal with, or maybe Rito will come back or something like that. I don't know if that would have been different. If they would have gone back to their civilian lives, if that was a different version of the script. The article didn't say anything, but it sounds like it was still open to that possibility that maybe Rita could come back. It just, we wouldn't have gotten those other 20 episodes. Maybe.
I mean, we would have because of Bandai mandates. Or
was it more like Saban mandates? More like Fox mandates. That's what it's. Fox mandates. Yeah.
Bandai mandates became more of a thing later on.
Yes, quite.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. Okay.
Kim, I have to ask.
Yes.
Looking back on this episode, what do you wish was done differently?
I did kind of already mention, like, I wish the stakes were a little bit higher, and I do wish it, like, maybe it could have been like a 5-parter like Green with Evil, so we can have more time for the Rangers to
from what I read online, I think this 2-parter is based on the last 4 episodes of Zhu Ranger.
It is. Yeah, this is the finale of Zhu Ranger.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I feel like things got solved a little too quickly. I feel like everything was just a little too convenient, just like, like someone said earlier in the chat, like they just tech their way out of there. They technobabble the MacGuffin, and then Ron Wasserman plays us out.
It's Billy has a fully functional command center / garage.
Right. Yeah, and then Goldar does absolutely nothing to stop them. Like, I'm gonna stop the Power Rangers, and then he taunts them for a little bit, and then they're like, "All right, you fix it, bye."
Yeah, he just goes there to flex a little bit. I'm gonna destroy you, Rangers, without actually destroying you.
What are you doing?
That would have been a good way. That would have been a good way to raise the stakes even further, if in their most vulnerable state, Gordar, whatever. I can't. Words are hard today, apparently.
Goldar Ramsey, where he just yells profanities at the Rangers.
Someone Photoshop that for me right now.
Billy, make me a sandwich.
Where's the lamb sauce?
No, that's what he's yelling at Scorpina. He's like, "Woman, make me a sandwich."
Make your sandwich better. This sandwich is crap. Make the sandwich better. Bollocks. Okay. Oh my god.
I need British Goldar in my life now.
We all.
Oh boy. But no, the stakes could have been raised a little bit higher. I get it. It's a kid's show, but the stakes could have been raised a little bit higher even in that moment. Like, say, for instance, Goldar shows up with the putties and captures our Rangers, or captures most of them except for Billy. I mean, that would have been a way to raise the stakes even further.
I would say yes, but one of the things you have to keep in mind is that this is at a point in season 1, they were pretty slavish to the Sentai footage.
It's true, but they were still making
so they're limited by what they can do.
Yeah, but they're still making their own footage. They could have easily, like, all the stuff with the dark dimension, that was their own. That was Saban footage. That was not Zhu Ranger footage.
Right.
So they could have easily just raised the stakes a little bit higher with capturing our Rangers, but leaving one behind, named probably Billy, because convenience and technology. So, that would have been a way to at least make it feel more important. But how quickly and this is turning into a review of the episode itself, how quickly they just resolve it.
Nobody came here for a review of the episode.
This is true, but they're getting a semi-review of the episode because there are problems with the episode. It's not perfect. As what I hate to admit, MMPR is not perfect. I won't admit that. MMPR is like mid-tier.
You just did.
Blasphemy.
I know.
Get out of my house.
Get out of the stream.
Get out of your stream.
Okay.
No, Kim, he's canceled again. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that was automatic, really. I think he already knew he was going to get canceled, and he just undid
I was about to remove myself from the stream, but I wasn't sure if I could come back. So, but it wasn't worth it for the joke.
Like, all right, bye.
Boom, baby! The queen has spoken. The fabulous empire.
Oh boy.
See what you missed not going to G-Fest? I'm just
that's another topic for another day.
That is another. Well, okay, so yeah, that's another. I don't want to get in. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I'm missing I'm missing Power Morphicon as well. I'm disappointed in that as well. But at least
Power Morphicon.
Yeah. So at least there'll be other cons coming.
I just realized I can kind of like hold your logo in my hand.
Nathan, Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday. You've covered it. It does go pretty quickly, but it's kind of par for the course with MMPR. There are some stakes that are felt in this, but I do think I like the pacing of Green with Evil better. It spaced everything out a little bit more. Let the weight of things sink in a little bit more. Now, I do appreciate the fact that they are putting, they're very clearly putting civilians in peril. And it's people that we saw the crowd. We don't necessarily know who all of them are, but we saw them. And they do reuse some of the actors that, had little, some lines here and there, in the episode. So that wasn't just faceless civilians like you see in a lot of stuff. So I did appreciate that. But yeah, they just did what they did before to beat Cyclopsis. So
well, how would you, since you are typically the script doctor, because you want to rewrite the perfection that is Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, 1991.
Don't get me started.
how would you script doctor Doomsday?
I'd probably make it a little longer. Space things out a little bit more. Make it feel bigger.
I think Primetime would have helped this as well.
Primetime probably would have helped. I mean, the season premiere for season 2, that 3-parter did air in Primetime. That was a big deal. I mean, kids show in Primetime. Holy crap!
I mean, I have to agree with Carl. The episode with the Island of Illusion did it a little bit better. Right. Or no, I'm sorry. Doomsday did it a little bit better than Island of Illusion. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. There we go. It's better than Island of Illusion. Just did that one with the guys today. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Island of Illusion is odd.
That was a thing. That's another topic for another day.
It most certainly is. But so yeah, I think I would have just spaced it out a little bit more just to let the stakes kind of sink in a little bit. I would have basically said, hey, take some cues from Green with Evil. I mean, I'm assuming that the footage that they had from, there was usable footage in all 4 of the final episodes of Zyuranger. I would have said, like, just lean into it, use it. Mm-hmm. So I would have to I haven't watched all of Zyuranger yet, so I'd have to watch those to see if that would have been doable. But that would have been the gist of my recommendation.
Someone out there will correct me, probably Carl, but I believe that the finale in Zyuranger is actually 3 parts. I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's actually 3 parts. There could possibly be extra footage out there, but it's been a hot minute since I've watched Zyuranger, so I could be wrong, and I'm going to make sure that I'm wrong, which I probably am.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, he admitted that he was wrong or could be wrong.
You're just full of surprises tonight.
I know, guys. So Kim,
Ego Ranger actually has a little humility. I am shocked.
So Kim, not Nathan, take a cue from what Travis said, and never mind.
Pipe down, sir.
Pipe down. Kim, how would you script doctor Doomsday?
What Nathan said, basically. I mean. Just like I pretty much answered this question already. I mean, just make it longer, raise the stakes a little bit, and then just make things a little less convenient for the Rangers. I mean, like, I know it's a kids show and the kids have short attention spans, and then it's gonna move things along. But like, come on, like they could have spent a little more time raising the stakes a little bit. But overall, for what we got, I think we ended on a high note.
I was right. Thank you, John Cassidy. Ranger did have 3-part finale. Thank you.
Indeed.
I
Thank
was
you, John
correct.
Cassidy.
I was correct for once.
Yay. All right. Yeah, so like I said, the episode that we got did end on a high note, and if we had left with that, then maybe we would be assuming that things in Angel Grove went back to normal, and maybe they didn't need to use their powers anymore. I don't know. That's what I said. That's what I think in my head. But
Right.
yeah, and the franchise probably would have ended up being like a distant memory, like Big Bad Beetleborgs or Masked Rider.
Well, without MMPR, we wouldn't have gotten either one of those. But
that's true.
Let's play that what if game. Let's assume that this went through as I originally described, and there was a little bit of a window for more, but it ended like that. The first question we need to ask is, do you think there would have been a second season? If we didn't have those other 20 episodes, would we have gotten a season 2?
I think so. Because at the time, Power Rangers was popular. It was popular enough that they had to order 20 more episodes. So they could have rode that momentum into season 2. So I don't necessarily think in the history of Power Rangers, us getting this extra, I don't think it changed very much. In my opinion.
Can you repeat the last 15 seconds?
Yeah, you just cut out like big time.
Wow. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I was just gonna say that I think we would have gotten a season 2 because of the momentum that the franchise had at the time. I think that they could have rode that even if they didn't commission those extra 20 episodes. I still think that Saban and Fox and just the franchising aspect of the franchising aspect could have rode that into a season 2, regardless of whether or not we got those extra 20 episodes.
Right. Now, I guess my next question was going to be, if that's the case, would we have gotten the same season 2, or would it have been different?
I think it would have been
think that would depend on whether or not the Rangers chose to go back to their civilian lives or not.
I think it would have been
because I don't know if that was the same.
I think it would have been slightly different because I can see a situation if we're playing the what if game. I mean, you and I talked about this earlier, Nathan. If we're playing the what if game, I can see a situation where Rita is defeated. She's defeated, and Zed is off looking from afar, and he says, they defeated my minions, and that pees me off. And so in his hubris, and this is something, shameless plug for the audio drama, this is something that Carl and his team do wonderfully, is they play into...
We need a counter for how many times we endorse the audio drama.
That would be a lot, sir. They play into the villain's hubris, where I can see a situation where Zed is looking from afar and he says, you know what? They think they've won, but they haven't, because I'm going to show them just how big a bad is still out there. So I think that is how they could have dovetailed it. Of course, the technicalities of the script, I don't know what that would necessarily have to look like.
Do you think Zed would have gone and just found new minions, or do you think he would have freed the Moon Crew?
I think you could have, you could have, if I were Saban, you could have gotten those Die Ranger minion suits.
See, that was the thing. My counter proposal to that would have been, we may have not gotten Zed, which would have probably been a huge disappointment. Of course, we wouldn't have known, and they may have just gone through with just adapting the Die Ranger villains,
but I don't think Die Ranger just on its face would have been a good adaptation for the Power Rangers. I just don't think so. I think that you could have, because Saban had the money, they had the funds at this time to have those Die Ranger outfits. The name of the villain clan escapes me, but to have those outfits.
Travis will tell us.
Travis is not in the chat anymore. I don't think Travis is here anymore. But the Die Ranger villains, having those suits like sent over here to America. Yeah, I agree with what Carl. Yeah, but it kind of,
yeah.
but Carl,
a bunch of leather daddies. I'm just.
But Carl, I will say that in a weird, twisted way, it probably would have worked as as Zed as the Overlord with these leather claden. I don't know what the word is. Leather clad. There we go. These leather clad.
I mean,
villains.
technically, those characters do show up.
They do, but they show up as monsters of the week, which is a little bit of an insult because the villains in Die Ranger are really good. They're weird, but they're really good.
Awesome.
They
were called the Gorma tribe. Apparently,
Gorma tribe. Yeah, I just found it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that could have been a possibility. Do you think they would have stuck to the Mighty Morphin branding? Because good Lord, they were in love with those Zhu Ranger suits.
I think so.
Or do you think they would have switched over to Die Ranger?
I mean, if you're going to bring over, it really will just depend on how much time and money they had to invest in new footage. If they wanted to invest in new footage, sure, they could have brought those suits over. I was always outside of just the general branding of the franchise and keeping brand awareness alive, I always wondered why they didn't use the Die Ranger suits, because those look just as good and to some degree better than the Mighty Morphin suits. Please don't hurt me.
Yeah, it's because of the branding. They had to stick to it.
Indeed. Yes, quite.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're aiming for double digits, baby.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So, do we have any more thoughts on Doomsday, or maybe what could have been, in season 2 if there was a season 2?
Well, let's keep going down the what would season 2 have looked like.
Okay.
Let's kind of pick a direction. All right.
Okay.
So, let's take it a step further. We'll pull a little bit of a Carl here. Let's say that the Rangers decided we're going back to our civilian lives. We've beaten Rita. The world is as it should be. We can go back to our civilian lives. It would have been really compelling, I think, if the way we start season 2, whether it was Lord Zed or Leather Daddy, showing up to be the new big bad, that then suddenly Zordon is calling up the Rangers and being like, "Hey, I need you to come back." That would have been a great way, I think, to start the second season.
I think so too, because you could have had footage of the Rangers similar to what we got in Turbo. Not that, because I know we're not supposed to talk about Turbo, but I'm going to reference Turbo here for just a minute. Similar to what we had with Turbo, where you've got our Rangers kind of just going in different directions. They're living their lives, or they're indulging in their passion projects, what have you. And, all of a sudden this, you see, for like, say the premiere episode, you're catching up on our Rangers. You're finding out what they've been up to since the world has gone, quote, back to normal. And then by the end of that episode, you realize, oh, there's a new threat coming. And then the episode, that episode 1 could end with, we need to call the Rangers. And then,
how about this? Well, how about this? So they call them back, and they go back to using the Zhu Ranger suits, the original Mighty Morphin suits. And let's say they confront whoever is the new big bad, and he just mops the floor with them, wrecks their morphers. So then they got to technobabble the MacGuffin and and fix the morphers. But in order to do that, they have to change things.
Which is similar to what we did with season 2 anyway. Because if you remember, Zed shows up, creates Piranha's head. Piranha's head wipes the floor because Piranha's head was originally a Zhu 2. The first, I think, 10 episodes of season 2 it's still
the first handful. They were still doing Zhu 2.
So it's so Piranha's head wipes the floor with the Rangers, but you could
and for anyone who doesn't know, Lord Zed exists only in Power Rangers. Right. He is completely original to Power Rangers. The suit was made by Toei, and I think Toei did film a lot of footage with it for Power Rangers, but he does not have a Sentai counterpart.
Right. So you could have a situation where instead of what we actually got was, the Zords are destroyed, but the technology still is there. This technology is salvageable, just not the Zords. You could have had a situation where they just completely wiped the floor with everything.
Right. And then maybe they rebuild the morphers, but they say we couldn't fix it exactly. So your costumes are going to look a little different.
Mhm. We're calling upon the power of thunder to this mystical power of thunder, this untapped resource that we've been holding on to for quote 10,000 years, to bestoweth upon you.
We're getting a little Shakespearean up in here.
I don't know. Like I don't speak Shakespeare as well as you, good sir.
To be or not to be, yes, quite.
Oh dear.
To yes or not to yes, quite. Since you got the screen up there, you might as well.
One away from double digits. Anyway, but anyway, so you were saying we're calling upon the power of thunder.
Yeah, just calling upon the power of thunder, just like they normally do with Ranger Suit. What they do with like the Zeo powers and etc. They say, "Oh, we have this really powerful technology we've been kind of just saving for a moment like this," which also makes me think that were the Zordon and Alpha just kind of giving the Rangers like the least viable product, or what is it called, the most not necessarily their best, but just say what could work in that moment. It's like we don't want to use the good stuff, so we're just going to give you this instead.
Discount Ranger powers.
The discount Ranger powers. Yeah, the Dollar Tree Ranger.
That's only
powers.
mildly insulting. I'm just
right. So
I'm just saying.
I promise I love Mighty Morphin, guys.
Now that we've talked about, because that sounds like a really great pitch. I will say that sounds like a great pitch to start a season 2 for Power Rangers without the other 20 episodes. But let's take this a little bit metatextually. Would it have worked? Would the audience of kids watching been willing to go along with such honestly drastic changes? Yes, the face actors are still the same. We still have the characters, but the costumes are completely different, and the Zords are completely different, and we have a brand new villain. Just everything's different. Will the show have survived?
I feel like it could have worked, because we get drastic changes like halfway through season 2 the way it is now, with Adam, Rocky, and Aisha
power
showing
transfer,
up. Yeah. And then Jason, Trini, and Zach go into never-ending peace conference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it would have worked, and then they were able to adjust to the Thunder Zords, again with how season 2 is now. So I feel like it would have worked. It's just different changes that we're proposing.
I don't think that I don't want to sound cynical, but I think anything will work with the right marketing. Mm-hmm. So, that's a really cynical way to think about it, because
it's true though.
That is true. I'm just thinking, because it took them 3 seasons to figure out, okay, we can't keep doing this. It's just not viable. But did they need those 3 seasons to kind of prep the audience in order to, and then, kind of ease them in a little bit by doing the weirdo 10-part miniseries with the Alien Rangers, and then it's like, bam, Zeo, and everything's different? Did they need that extra time to get the audience prepared for it?
Well,
or could they have just done it right on episode 41, our hypothetical episode 41?
Well, something that Carl pointed out, that by the time they got to Zeo, the ratings were way down. So they were probably I would assume that they were in a situation where, what's it going to hurt to experiment a little bit and change things up? Plus, they were completely out of Die Ranger footage, because contextually, Die Ranger is. I can see where Die Ranger would have been an incredibly difficult season for them to adapt without producing their own footage.
And Kaiju Ranger was really hard to do.
Ranger was
too.
the most.
Good Lord.
Kaiju Ranger is one of the most Japanese of Japanese things I've ever watched.
I am amazed that there was anything usable in Kaiju Ranger. Which, for those who don't know, Kaiju Ranger was the primary basis for season 3. Yeah,
outside of a little bit of monster footage and outside of a little bit of monster footage and the Zord footage, they really, if you notice, they really didn't use a ton of.
Not until Alien Rangers.
Right. They really didn't use a ton of it. So I was going to point out too, about when we were talking about season 2, when I think our discussion, Nathan, if I'm remembering correctly, our thematic discussion on season 2 was change.
Yeah.
And then I'm just wondering if maybe that would have been too much change for the audience to see new Zords, new powers, and new suits. I mean, I don't want to sound
new villains
and new villains.
probably.
I mean, I don't want to sound cynical, but I think anything can be, hyped up with the right amount of marketing and the right amount, and with the amount of money that Saban was throwing into this thing, they could have made it work.
Right.
I just don't know, or don't necessarily believe it would have been as seamless as we got so far. It is weird to see the Dino Ranger suits in season 2 when they're doing basically the 4 Guardians. The 4 Guardian beasts,
the Zodiac,
the Chinese Zodiac. But I don't. I mean, I really don't have a good answer for that. Because
here's another one to kind of piggyback off of the the changes idea. Would the power transfer still have happened in this hypothetical new season 2? Would making 20 fewer episodes have made the half of the cast happier, that they at least enough to stay on for an entire
you have to get down
season?
You have to get down to really the root issue of why they left. They left over being overworked and contract disputes.
Yeah, but 20 fewer episodes.
True, but there was other facters going into that as well.
Right. I'm just playing the what if game.
Right. It's not just. I don't want to argue your hypothetical too much, but it really just does come down. If it was 20 fewer episodes, maybe the cast, Tui Trang and
Austin St. John Jones.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a terrible fan, I guess.
Yes,
fake fan.
Fake fan. Yes, quite. That's 2. We're up to 11.
Double digits.
Yay. But I don't know. Maybe it would have allowed. Maybe they would have given the show a little bit more. The producers a little bit more grace to stick around.
How about this? Would season 2 have still been as long as it was?
Probably. Maybe
because season 2 was 53 episodes. It's only a little shorter than season 1. But if we only have 40 episodes in season 1, would season 2 have been 40 episodes?
Might have been a little shorter, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Less to work with. It probably would have been a little shorter, less to work with. Trying to tie up this particular story arc, they could have tied up that particular story arc in a much shorter amount of time.
Right. Now, one thing I do think probably still would have happened, at least to a certain extent, is I do think it still would have ran into censorship issues. I still think the moms groups would have gotten a little bit of their way, even if in this hypothetical season 2, because I don't think that would have changed.
Right. I don't think that the campiness would have changed.
No, that wouldn't have changed either.
I think because that's the biggest. Like, I love season 2. Season 2 is one of my favorite seasons of the show. But I think that the first, I'd say 15 or so episodes are better because they really leaned into the shtick of it being more of a dire situation.
Right. Yeah, and Zed just being the scariest thing you've ever seen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see a big skinless man with a codpiece coming at you, I'd be scared too.
Yeah. Even if he does have duct tape on his scepter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I did catch that. That got broken a little bit.
Maybe they could have allocated a little bit more money to the Dark Rangers.
No, I think
Lucha Satsu.
The Dark Rangers.
In this universe, the Dark Rangers stay exactly how they are.
Awesome.
I hate you. No, quite.
Oh, that's not fair.
Aw. Not quite.
Not quite. That was not quite a yes, quite. Okay.
Darn it. Yeah. Now, Michael and I have been doing a lot of talking. What are some thoughts that you have that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, I did have a couple of other what ifs that I wanted to explore. Like,
Sure.
so I didn't watch Zoo Ranger all the way through yet, but I kind of got spoiled a little bit. 'Cause, like, I kind of know how some stuff goes down. So one of the what ifs that I came up with is, what if Tommy met the same fate as his Sentai counterpart?
Oh, he died?
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't. That's a big hurdle to get over. I'm not sure the show would have been bold enough to do it, but if they were bold enough to do it, I'm sure there'd be some people in chat are gonna hate it. I don't think the franchise would have survived. It might have gotten a second season, then it would have been done.
Yeah, it is a bit dark for a kids show, but on the other hand, it has the potential to, teach kids a valuable lesson about life
Yeah,
and death.
I mean,
But,
which they
but
did do later. They
Yeah.
killed Rangers later, but
they did do that, yes.
Yeah, but that's-
they needed to work up to that. You know,
Right,
it
but
took them
that's-
7 seasons to be willing to do it.
But that's a case of the show growing up with its audience. So by the time we get to Lost Galaxy and the death of Kendricks, the audience is already grown up enough that they can grasp concepts like life and death.
Right.
To Kim's point, I don't know if that would have worked, simply because of cultural sensibilities. I think the cultural sensibilities for Japanese kids television and the sensibilities for American kids television is a little bit different. I feel like if they would have killed off Tommy, they may have been met with a little bit of backlash, and then they would have had to retcon it later.
Yeah. Which is funny. But it probably would have been the same people complaining about the violence, and then Lord Zed. They were like, "How dare you kill Tommy Oliver? My son's blocked himself in his room for a week." I mean,
how dare you use laser pistols?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been Optimus Prime
right
from the 80s all over again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was so much backlash to that Hasbro was like, frick, I know you impale Duke in the chest with a snake spear in the G.I. Joe movie. Can you not do that? Crap, we already animated it. Magically, the spear puts him in a coma.
There you go.
That's pull up Carl's last comment about the green candle, because that's actually a really valid. I feel like that's actually a really valid point.
Here we go. My
My
only change in the adaptation would be the green candle introduced right out of the green evil. So Tommy is on clock like Burai, or like he was later.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, that makes sense.
I do like that concept.
I do like that concept too, because you could, in theory, say that Tommy's powers are tied to a very specific thing, and that now that the spell is broken, oh, okay, you want to go and fight against me? Okay, fine. Your powers.
You're
are
on
finite.
borrowed time.
You're on borrowed time. Yeah.
Right. I do think that would have been very compelling, and I think that would have been. It would have made more sense, I think, within what they had, and I don't think that would have been too dark for kids to grasp at the time. And something that I want to bring up, and why I agree with you, Michael, I don't think that this is a decision they necessarily would have made at that time, because this is me putting my English major hat on here really quick. But I recently
who had English major on their bingo board.
But it's just something that I spoke about recently on the Film Vault about how
who had Film Vault on their bingo board.
Anyway, when you see campy stories, and I would say Power Rangers is extremely campy, at a point where there's a lot of indulgence going on in a culture, and when I look back on the 90s, I'm thinking that this is between the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War, basically, and then 9/11. So it's a very indulgent time, because Americans are like, "Hey, we won, we beat the Soviets. Look at us." And then 9/11 was a wake-up call. So the fact that we're getting campy superhero stories in the early 90s just makes sense. And then obviously when we get to Lost Galaxy, that's 1999, 2000, somewhere around there. It's not quite to September 11th, but enough time has passed that people have kind of grown up a little bit. They have matured. They've caught up with the culture at that time. They're no longer being quite as indulgent.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
They're willing to embrace. They're willing to embrace 12. They were willing to embrace, I guess, a more realistic worldview, or a more realistic worldview works. Worldview. Yeah. That's not the word I was looking. Outlook. There we go. That's actually the word I was looking for. They were ready to embrace a more realistic outlook. Right. That I don't think kids in 1993, 94 were ready for.
And I don't think the filmmakers were necessarily willing to go there quite yet either.
Well, no, because again,
they're caught up in that culture of, we won the Cold War is sort of a thing too.
But I'm just thinking too, killing off your cash cow is a little bit of a poor move as well.
Right. Which is one of those big differences between American and Japanese television, at least when it comes to tokusatsu. At that point, Sentai fans were used to having a new team every year. You get 50 episodes with this team, and then after that, you get something new. Yeah. American kids were not used to that.
Yeah. Maybe I think with Sentai, it's like you maybe get a movie or two.
Occasionally the characters will come back for crossovers, but
like you'll get a crossover movie at like a festival or something, or I think it was made for a Japanese TV movie or something like that. Because they did that with O Ranger and Car Ranger, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they ever did that.
They also did it with Kaku Ranger and O Ranger because they used some of that footage.
That might be what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of,
they made. That's where the purse monster in Zeo comes from because it's not in O Ranger, because you're like, I don't remember this from O Ranger. I say, because that footage is from a movie.
Yes.
And the movie's not been made available.
Right. I think you can find it if you look hard enough, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you can find it out there, but
Shout Factory, we kind of want it.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right, so let's do one more hypothetical. That's a little more lighthearted, or I guess whatever. Before we head out.
Leather Daddy Zed, right? Got it.
What if Rito wasn't an idiot?
That's season 3. Okay. Anyway, what is it?
All right. Okay. All right. So one more what if.
All right.
So this was kind of like what they did in the 2017 movie. Sorry, Michael. But like, what if they weren't all friends? like they all start off as friends, but what if they weren't friends at the beginning? Like, how would that have played out?
To the 2017's movie, to the 2017's movie's credit, that is actually a aspect of that movie I actually like. The fact that they are this kind of Breakfast Club like ragtag group of individuals thrown into a situation that they don't necessarily want to be in together, not just because they don't want to be in it, period, but just because a lot of them just don't like each other because they come from a lot of different backgrounds. I think that looking back on it, it would have been more interesting, and it would have been but I think also it would have been a little harder for that audience that this show is geared towards to be as connected to it as possible. Because I don't know if kids in 1993 would have picked up on the little nuances of, oh, Billy's the geek and Jason's the jock, but Jason probably picks on Billy because he's the nerd. I don't know if that would have been something that the makers would have wanted to play with. I think they went the safe route. Like they were too safe with it, with making them all friends. I totally agree. And I think that is an aspect of the 2017 movie I actually like, that they're not all friends and they really don't like each other that much. Because that's a very realistic take on it. But it's also, in an odd way, it's also kind of realistic too, that these people would not necessarily be best friends, but acquaintances.
Two things. One, I think you could have done it, but you would have had to have made the pilot longer. I think they just made them all friends to save time.
Right.
Two, it's called Dino Thunder.
That's a good point.
They did
Yes,
correct
quite.
that. Yes, quite.
Okay, all right, hang on. There we go.
They did correct that in Dino Thunder.
They did.
Yeah,
They did correct
that's what
that
I was
in
gonna
Dino
say.
Thunder.
That's Dino Thunder. It's
That is
just-
true.
And they did it in 2 episodes.
There you go.
Which
So
we talked
basically, we
about-
would have gotten Dino Thunder earlier.
Basically, which kind of plays into the fact that, like we talked about with you, Kim, Dino Thunder is sort of the spiritual successor to Mighty Morphin in the fact that it does a lot of the same things. There's a lot of the same. There's a lot of the motif is very similar. The concept is very similar to Mighty Morphin, but there's just some little refinements that feel better with Dino Thunder. It's really hard for me as a fan to pick between Mighty Morphin and Dino Thunder. Objectively, Dino Thunder is a better season. Like, it's written better, it's acted better, but I don't adore that cast in Dino Thunder as much as I adore the cast.
Yeah, but the thing that I think one of the things that Kim and I were talking about this a little bit while you were off stream fixing your microphone so you didn't sound like the Magnificents.
The
anymore.
Magnificents.
Yeah, but I think one of the now that I think about it, I think one of the things that has helped keep Mighty Morphin in particular in the cultural zeitgeist is the cast. I think the cast in Mighty Morphin is the best thing it has going for it. And Carl will agree with us. The cast in Mighty Morphin has an incredibly good rapport right off the bat. We can talk all day, debate all day, I should say, about how good the stories were and if it was too campy or whatever. But that cast is what I think has kept the show alive.
Yeah. And the fact that there was such backstage, because we all know now as fans about the backstage drama with season 1, but they didn't. What I respect about that cast is the fact that they didn't bring that on set. They didn't bring those their personal issues with one another on set. They did. It did feel like they all genuinely liked each other, when maybe they necessarily didn't behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That is really sad, though. That's the way they treated David Yost. That was just not cool.
No, it was incredibly sad. I'm really happy that David Yost is getting the attention he's getting now.
Mhm.
I really hope that I really hope his passion project, whatever that ends up being, Power Rangers Quantum Continuum,
yeah,
gets off the ground, because I would
love
like
to see that. I think Netflix and Hasbro are really missing an opportunity here. I think they should throw some money at him so he can do that. And, so why not give us an abundance of riches next year for the 30th anniversary? Give us Cosmic Fury and Quantum Continuum. We will do nothing but give you money. We'll be happy and you'll have lots of money. So it's a win-win.
Guys. And as the fan base has proven, we only care about Mighty Morphin, apparently.
Yeah, but we get to see Billy again. So
yeah, that's true. It's a little bit of a dig to Ranger fandom that likes to complain about MMPR all the time.
Oh, good Lord. Everyone was all up in arms because Mighty Morphin got really far in that big voting bracket thing that the Power Rangers Instagram was doing, and then it came down to In Space and Time Force, so everyone calmed down a little bit.
Well, it came down to Dino Thunder and Time Force.
No, it was In Space and Time Force. I checked.
Oh, well, anyway, arguably
In Space and Time Force, yeah.
Arguably 2 of the best seasons in the franchise, both from a writing perspective, a character's perspective, and a conceptual perspective. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Time Force won, because I really enjoyed Time Force.
Those were 2 that I would have been very happy seeing win.
Oh, we know, Nathan. We know.
Yes, we know.
For reasons that are not allowed to be said on this show.
I know. We know. We all know you have a crush on Astronema.
I was gonna say we all know he has a crush on Ecliptor. It's fine. We're all
I'm a robosexual. Didn't you know? Just like on Futurama.
Listen, we don't judge here on Chill with Kaiju Kim.
We do not judge at all. We do not. No.
Not quite. All right.
Not quite. We need to get a few more onto there. So we're artificially inflated to 20 at this point.
Oh boy, we can't do that. Realistically, we can't do that.
Yeah, no, because we're just about done with our discussion for the evening because we are past the hour mark. So, gentlemen, if you would like to plug your podcast and anything else you have going on, now's the time to do it.
Nathan, I'll let you start. I'll let you plug the podcast.
Which one? I only have 97.
Go ahead.
Just the bad of many podcasts.
Just plug away. I've got my own plugs.
Oh, really? I was going to leave the power trip to you, and I was just going to talk about my other stuff.
Well, I was just going to talk about the fact that Kaiju Ramen Volume 1 is
Yes!
now shipping. This is a wonderful project that my co-creator Travis Alexander and I put together. Beautiful artwork by Matt Frank, beautiful articles. I'm very excited to finally get this in the hands of our patrons. I am so sorry it took us so long, but between shipping and personal delays, sometimes life just happens, guys. I'm so sorry. But Volume 1
life finds a way.
Volume 1 is shipping now, and everyone should have theirs in hand by, Travis told me, next week. So if you don't, complain to Travis. But no, in all seriousness,
you realize if that happened, he would get wrecked, right?
Oh, I know. In all seriousness, Kaiju Ramen Volume 1 is shipping. We just put out Kaiju Ramen Issue 6, which contains part 2 of my article called The Power Trip.
The Power Trip article series. Yeah.
The Power Trip article series, My Journey Through the Power Rangers franchise, written by me, where I go through, it's similar content as the podcast. The podcast was kind of meant to be a supplement to the article series. I almost think now the roles have been reversed, where the article series is now the supplement to the podcast at least in written form.
Basically, the articles are basically the thematic discussions that we
have. That's what we wanted to do for the articles. We're not going into a lot of detail. We're not going into behind the scenes. I'm not doing all that stuff. Because there are other resources out there that you can indulge that. But I wanted to talk about the thematics within Power Rangers. And we just published issue 6, which contains part 2, where I discuss the impact of Green with Evil and its lasting effects on the franchise.
Right. Which was a supplement to a Film Vault episode that you and I did. Oh, geez. When was that? Like March?
March.
It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was March when you and I did that on the Monster Island Film Vault, which we'll be sharing an abridged version of that episode on the Power Trip feed at some point for those who didn't hear it on the Film Vault.
Yeah. And speaking of the Power Trip, the podcast, you can listen to us every other week. Right now, we're up to Jungle Fury. Our episode on RPM will be coming out very, very soon. As of, I think, next Tuesday at the time of this live
Tuesday.
Or this Tuesday at the time of this live
That is
stream.
the plan.
Yes.
It is a long recording.
It is a very long recording.
Yeah.
But it's RPM.
Yeah.
So
and we had our
be our longest episode.
Yes, anyone who wants to listen to the Power Trip podcast, be prepared to set aside at least 3 hours of your time.
or you can listen to it in batches. That's fine too. We're not going to judge.
It'll make our analytics look better than they are.
It will. It'll give us those extra download numbers.
Yeah, it gives us the extra downloads. Yeah.
But we did have our good friend Chris Cook of Geek Devotions and
No. One Cross Radio.
I'm sorry. I'm getting him confused with our friend Dallas.
With Dallas. Yeah.
So we have our friend Chris Cook of One Cross Radio on the show to talk about RPM and all things ranging from I'm Scottish to Canadian bacon, and it's just
Canadian bacon.
It's a lot of fun. It was a fun discussion. We love you, Chris.
More, like one of the most impactful finales in Rangers.
Oh man, if Carl, if you ever did an adaptation to RPM, man, that's.
I may have to do that for him. Maybe that could be like one of my little bonus episodes where it's like, here's another flash forward. The world ends, and there's only one city left.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, that's all I got. Listen to the Power Trip. You can find us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify. Not YouTube, because we're really bad at uploading to YouTube. But anywhere you find your favorite podcast, that's where we are. Power Trip Podcast. Don't get us confused with the Power Trip,
which is a sports podcast.
Sports podcast. That's not us. We don't talk about sports ball.
That's why. Well, no, because sometimes the Rangers are athletes, so we have to.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a soccer player in Dino Thunder.
That's true.
Nathan, shameless plugs.
Well, actually.
No, well, actually, get out of here.
All right. Well, relatedly, if you're into Henshin heroes, but you want to hear about the more Japanese versions of these heroes, go listen to Henshin Men, a podcast about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high-flying and high-kicking adventures, which was started by myself and our co-host in common, Travis Alexander. I know that shtick technically doesn't really apply anymore because Kaiju Weekly's on hiatus, but it's too funny not to do anymore.
Is it though?
Don't argue with me.
I am the queen. Don't you argue with me.
This is true.
You just published an episode on Sexy Rangers, didn't you?
You published an episode on Sexy Rangers, I think. But yes, Kim, that is a thing that exists. It's on Tubi. I'm sorry that you now know that it exists.
It is a very obscure thing that exists. Don't ever watch it. It's awful.
Righto. Nathan, continue.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it's more schlocky than it is sexy, according to Michael. So anyway, so there will be a new episode of Henshinman actually dropping tomorrow. So go check that out. We'll be getting back to our Kamen Rider coverage, which will be very welcome because it's been a while. Did some filler episodes on Ultraman for a bit. So we're getting back to Kamen Rider. And then obviously, I got to talk about the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast about a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. Shut up, both of you. Anyway, I know you've heard it 1,000 times at this point, but yeah. So if you're into kaiju in particular, we get into some non-kaiju related tokusatsu as well. Go check that out. It's both entertaining and academic. I know that sounds like those shouldn't coexist, but I found a way to make them coexist. And so, you get to, okay, here, click off the bingo. I put my English major hat on, and I talk about all of these movies, talk about the history and the culture that went into each one of them. And this was a weird thing that just evolved organically. There's also an ongoing audio drama around all of these film discussions, and you, Kim, have actually been a voice actress for me a couple of times.
Yes,
which has been
I just listened to that episode. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
When she was Calyptra.
Calyptra of the Fabulous Empire.
I should have threw that in there, actually. Yeah, you got to play a super villainess because I have a magical girl superheroine on the show, so you got to play one of her opponents.
That was so much fun. I want to do that again.
Now you want to do it? Well, yeah. Well, here's a small announcement. I won't give too much detail. Kim is probably going to become a regular because I'm introducing a new character, and Kim will be voicing that character as well. So
yes, indeed, I will.
Will she be as regular as Darius on Gold?
She'll be around a little longer, I think, than Mr. Gold. But
you're gonna outlast me, Kim. Okay,
I'm amazing.
Yeah, but you'll just find yourself a new character to get onto the show because
that's how I've done it. I've just made up the last 3 characters. That one is yet to show up. 3 characters, and I said, "Hey Nate, I've got a character for you. Can I do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Okay. Geriatric alcoholic. There we go.
No, but your third character is probably going to show up pretty soon. So
okay, good. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Machin. I appreciate that.
This man, I don't know where these voices come from. I have one of the best things to come out of doing the Film Vault is not only the wonderful friends that I have met who are in this stream, but also just the incredibly talented people I have found who could do so many voices. And I'm just like, where do these come from? It's amazing.
Well, when you're introverted and you just sit in your room and talk to yourself, they just eventually come out.
Ooh.
Kim, I actually, Carl was looking to recast Aisha, and I tried to get you to audition for that.
Is it too late?
No, it's too late. He's already recast Aisha. But
Carl,
when he was looking, I tagged you on Twitter because I'm like, Kim. Kim.
I should darn, I should have jumped on. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was busy having a mental breakdown or something. Anyway,
which all is too bad because you would have gotten to fight me because I'm Rito.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll find a way to fight you in an audio drama of some sort.
I was gonna say, is that what we're calling getting married now? Is having an emotional breakdown?
Oh, okay. No. I was like, wait a minute, what?
No.
Wait, Kim and I are fighting because we're married. I think her husband's going to murder me now. So
no, Nathan, she's too good.
Her
for
real
you.
husband. Yeah, Kim is too good for me. What do you? Yeah.
I'm too good for both of y'all.
Oh. Thank you, Kim. We have so much fun on this. Thank you, Kim, for indulging our weirdness and letting us come on.
Listen, if you guys were weird, we would not be friends.
It's true. Thank you for letting us just come on and ramble for an hour and 22 minutes about Power Rangers and just be weird together. It's always a pleasure when we get to talk to you, and you have a wonderful fan base of people. Words are escaping me.
You good?
Yeah, words are escaping me. I was going to give shout outs, but then a bunch of names just left my brain. And the only name I could think of is
all
y'all's.
All about this.
And keep in mind, people, this man is a podcaster and he loses words.
I do lose words all the time. The only name I can think of now is your twin, Donnie Winter. That's all I can think of.
He doesn't even remember our names anymore. He's just like, who are you people again?
I'm Kim.
It's good to meet you, Kim. Yes. It's lovely to meet you, Kim. Yes.
Quite.
Yes, quite. Yes, quite. I see out of the stream. We can artificially.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to you watching at home, thank you so much for taking time out of your day / evening to hang out with me and my fantastic guests. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like this stream if you had a good time here tonight. And be sure to tune in next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. And with that, yes, quite.
Yes! We're legal!
We can go to college. Okay.
I can list in the military. I can buy cigarettes.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Goodbye. Oh, boy.